Throughout the years, there's been a really heated debate in the Naruto fandom as to which member of the legendary sannin is the most powerful. Since I've already done a video on Tsunade, I thought it was about time I got around to discussing the true power of Orochimaru. I'm sure that most Naruto fans would agree that Orochimaru is pretty damn skilled, and he's even more powerful. However, I still find that a lot of Naruto fans don't truly realize how overpowered and how broken Orochimaru is. That's why in today's True Power series, I'm going to be breaking down the true power of Orochimaru. Now, Orochimaru made it no secret that he wished to learn the secrets of every jutsu known to man, as well as create brand new jutsu, and he was willing to do it by any means necessary, even if it meant turning prisoners into test tube babies. It was through his own training and through his gruesome research that Orochimaru over the years gained mastery over all 5 changes in chakra nature. This shouldn't come as a shock to anybody, since Orochimaru is the student of the 3rd Hokage, a man who was known to have every change in chakra nature, as well as know how to use every hidden jutsu of each Naruto clan that didn't require the usage of a Kekkei Genkai, which is pretty damn scary when you think about the 3rd Hokage, which I have a whole video dedicated to how powerful the 3rd Hokage is. Even Hashirama Senju, someone who was pretty powerful himself, took time out to praise Orochimaru's power and skill, even after Orochimaru had been nerfed by the 3rd Hokage when he sealed away Orochimaru's ability to use most of his jutsu by robbing him of the ability to use hand signs. Orochimaru was still able to hold his own against a 4-tailed Naruto, and you can argue that Orochimaru was merely toying with him out of sheer curiosity. Whereas Jiraiya was critically wounded in this encounter, Orochimaru treated it like a game, which is another potential nod to his power. At his peak, Orochimaru possessed enough chakra to create surges of wind and crack hardened stone with the weight of his chakra. Orochimaru during the 4th Great Ninja War also displayed the ability to absorb chakra from a person, as well as their knowledge and how to use their individual jutsu. Also, Orochimaru, even with the sickened body during his fight with Naruto, showed just why the Akatsuki thought so highly of him in order to recruit him. With single kicks, he was shown being able to knock down trees, and he casually kept up with Sasuke when he used his Sharingan, which should be pretty impressive when you look at how hacked the Sharingan is, even in its lowest state with the one Tomoe. With one punch, he was able to stun a 4-tails Naruto, the same 4-tails Naruto that nearly killed Jiraiya. Orochimaru can also regenerate from damn near any attack that hits him because of how much he's experimented on his own body. He's enhanced his durability, as shown when he was able to take several lethal punches from Tsunade back to back to back during their fight in part 1 of Naruto. If the person he's fighting manages to get him in his true form, which is a giant white snake, any parts of his body that are cut and chopped and separated from his body are used to release the steam that paralyzes the enemy, which allows Orochimaru the opportunity to attack or take possession of their body. After he absorbed Kabuto's chakra, Orochimaru gained Kabuto's ability to use all of the Sound Force jutsu, including their Kekkei Genkai, and his body can also use Jugo's Kekkei Genkai to absorb nature energy, which was something that his original body couldn't do. After absorbing White Zetsu, Orochimaru no longer needed to eat as well, which means he can go without substance for a very long time. All this information was revealed to us in the 4th Naruto data book that Naruto series creator Masashi Kishimoto finished after Naruto ended its run in Weekly Shonen Jump back in 2014. Now, Orochimaru is also one of the most skilled users when it comes to sealing jutsu in the Naruto universe. Whenever he uses his sword in battle, Orochimaru can also extend it several meters, and he can control the sword without even touching it because of his chakra. Even more frightening than that is that Orochimaru, after absorbing Zetsu's body, now has an understanding as well as some mastery over wood release jutsu. On top of all of that, he possesses multiple snake summons and can use Edo Tensei to revive dead shinobi to fight under his control. As long as their chakra levels aren't at the levels of Hashirama Senju, then he can take full control of their bodies. Now, his Edo Tensei far surpassed Kabuto's because he brought back the 4 Hokages at nearly 100% of their power, keyword being nearly. So with all that information out of the way, we haven't even gotten to the pure craziness of how powerful Orochimaru is. His Binding Snake Glare is a jutsu where Orochimaru summons giant snakes from his sleeves and wraps them around his enemies. He can either crush their body via constriction or he can poison them with the same snake bite. Orochimaru can use this jutsu without any hand seals being formed if he has a blood seal on his arms that are made beforehand. The casualty puppet jutsu allows Orochimaru to absorb a dead body right after the person was killed, and he can use their corpse as an extension of his own body. Orochimaru can even use that dead body's ninjutsu in Kekkei Genkai. However, the drawback to doing this is that Orochimaru's own mind becomes vulnerable. Like medical ninjas, Orochimaru can use the chakra scalpel in battle to slice open the arteries of his enemies with a single swipe before they even realize it after he's infused his hands with chakra. Orochimaru can also use the Reaper Death Seal to seal away any enemy he fights. The trade-off to all of this is that Orochimaru, when he uses this jutsu, would seal his own soul inside of the Death God as well, so it's a bit of a last resort if Orochimaru uses this jutsu. Orochimaru also knows the hiding like a mole jutsu that allows him to tunnel underground, track the movements of his target by sensing their location via the magnetic shifts, and he can pop out from underground in order to attack them. Orochimaru can combine this jutsu with the Shadow Clone jutsu, which can allow him to lead a target into a trap that Orochimaru set up beforehand. Now, speaking of Shadow Clones, Orochimaru can also use Earth-style Shadow Clones that are made out of mud, but whereas with regular Shadow Clones disappear, Orochimaru's Shadow Clones can actually reform their body after the fact. Now, the 8-headed serpent jutsu is Orochimaru's strongest snake-related jutsu. Orochimaru transforms into a giant snake with 8 heads and 8 tails to attack his enemy. Just the scales of its underside were shown being able to destroy portions of the Uchiha hideout when it was moving across the ground to attack Itachi. The 10,000 snake wave jutsu is used when Orochimaru opens his mouth to spit out 10,000 poisonous snakes, and he then attacks his enemy using them. Each of these snakes can open their own mouths to stab their targets with the blades that are hidden inside their bodies, and when Orochimaru wills it to be, he can also use these snakes to create a defensive wall to protect himself from attacks. On top of that, Orochimaru has a sealing jutsu that seals a target into a different dimension located from within the seal itself. However, if that sounds too broken to you, I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I did break my rule about not using anything anime or OVA related, because this was actually something that was shown in a Naruto OVA, and to my knowledge, Masashi Kishimoto had no involvement in that. However, that was just so damn cool, I had to slip it into this video. Now, gathering the snake's jutsu allows Orochimaru to stitch his body back together from any lethal blows that might have split his body in half. The striking shadow snakes allows Orochimaru to summon several snakes at once to strike his enemy, to bind them, or to poison them with snake bites. On top of that, Orochimaru also has a time release jutsu that can destroy his hideouts, or he can use it to plant it on the battlefield, and using a mud water vortex, he's able to activate the specific time period that the jutsu goes off in order to attack his enemy. Now, like Zetsu, Orochimaru can phase through solid objects to avoid attacks and travel underground without being detected. However, contrary to popular belief, this isn't something that Orochimaru got after he absorbed Zetsu. Instead, Orochimaru had this jutsu several years ago. Way back in part 1 of Naruto, he displayed being able to use this jutsu as a way to sneak around without being detected by any sensory ninja. Now, the living corpse jutsu allows Orochimaru to transfer his soul into the body of another person, while also still retaining the part of that person's consciousness inside of Orochimaru's own soul. Now, think of it as the same way as Naruto having bits and pieces of the Biju chakra inside of him, and he can communicate with all the Biju in his mind whenever Naruto wants it to be. Using this jutsu that Orochimaru has, Orochimaru still maintains control, but part of the person he absorbs stays in a tiny corner in his mind. They never go away, even when Orochimaru switches to a new body. Orochimaru can also use a body replacement jutsu that allows him to escape major injury by causing his body to shed its skin so he can escape unharmed, or he can regurgitate his body out of his own body, which is pretty disgusting because he basically throws himself up and he's shedding skin like a snake, which is absolutely disgusting. Now, also because he has Hashirama's regeneration abilities via absorbing white Zetsu, Orochimaru doesn't need to use this jutsu unless he absolutely absolutely wishes to. Orochimaru can also use the multi-shuriken shadow clone jutsu, which allows him to throw a couple shuriken at his enemy, then combine the shadow clone jutsu on top of that to create shuriken shadow clones that strike his enemy. 2 shuriken can easily become 2,000 if Orochimaru wishes to be. Now, the slithering snake jutsu allows Orochimaru to shed his skin, turn the lower part of his body into a tail, and then move across the area at increased speeds and with highly increased agility. His snake clones use far less chakra than a regular shadow clone, and when his clone is destroyed, it merely reverts back to a collection of snakes. However, Orochimaru still maintains control over these snakes, which means even if you destroy that snake clone, you still have to watch out for the snake. Orochimaru can also dislocate the joints in his body to modify his body using the soft modification jutsu. This allows him to stretch his limbs at will in order to attack his enemy or squeeze in his tight spaces with ease. His sound wave jutsu shoots out a burst of intense sound waves that attack the eardrums of his targets, which is what he used in the anime version of Konoha Crush during the flashback when he was confronted by the third Hokage about experimenting on people. Now that he has Zetsu's body, Orochimaru can also use the subsection jutsu, which allows him to alter his chakra and his appearance at will, and he can take on the appearance of whoever he wishes, which will also allow him to copy their ninjutsu. His Rashomon and his triple Rashomon summonings allow him to block attacks. Their durability is also really impressive, since it took a 4 Tails QB firing off a Biju bomb in order to destroy the triple Rashomon. By touching the face of his target, Orochimaru can also perfectly copy their face as well as their voice. The White Snake Possession Jutsu also allows Orochimaru to transfer his consciousness into a snake, similar to how the Yamanaka clan transfers their consciousness into the body of whoever they have when they go into their mind using the mind transfer jutsu. Now, when Orochimaru does this, the snake actually goes inside of the target and it allows Orochimaru to control their body. His wind release breakthrough jutsu is formed after he molds chakra, and after focusing in his stomach, Orochimaru then shoots out a gust of wind to create a vortex to attack his enemy. However, his most powerful variation of this jutsu allows Orochimaru to create winds that are comparable to winds of a hurricane, which means if Orochimaru uses this jutsu, he can likely do some serious damage. Well guys, that's it for my true power video on Orochimaru. My question to you guys is, if Orochimaru had kept the Sound Village independent and had gone on to become the Kage of his own village in part 2 of the Naruto story, how powerful do you think the Sound Village would have become, and where would you rank Orochimaru in power in comparison to the 5 Kage in part 2 of Naruto? But as always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an incredible day guys.